All right, you want to put your screen down just for a few? Thank you, Mel. Now we start letting everybody in. Hello, 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 everyone. Almost said Wednesday because you're usually here on Wednesdays. It's Monday. Happy Monday.
Oh,
How is everybody doing out there? We have a large group of signups, so we're going to give it just a few moments for people to get logged in. This is going to be a lot of information tonight. The gut is a really large topic, a very important topic. So if you're a learner who loves to ask questions, write down tidbits, you can take pictures of the screen to be prepared that if you want to jot stuff down, maybe you get a notepad, a pen, have some water, some tea or something around you, maybe a snack, depending where you're at. And once again, we've got a large group, but what I want to do right now, which is what we do before every event, is to do roll call. And that is asking you in the chat box to represent where you're from, city, state, country. We always like to see where everybody is from and who's the furthest away. Hi, Ruby. I am in my office in Menlo Park. Santa Cruz, San Jose, Seattle, the Netherlands. Okay, I think Margot is going to win right now. Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Yes. Keep sharing. Keep sharing. It's always so interesting. If you're just joining us, we're doing roll calls, just sharing where everybody's from in the chat box, asking you to type in your city, state, or country, or all of them. Got New York. There we go. So got everybody kind of spread out. Well, in order to honor time, and because this is a large topic, we will get this thing going. And so quickly, I would just like to introduce myself, because you're probably like, I don't know who you are. Hi, where in the Netherlands are you located? Joanne. Joanne wants to know, where in the Netherlands are you, Margot? And what time is it right now? I'm curious. What time is it, Margot? We'll just look for your answer in the chat box. Anyways, my name is Mel, and I am co-founder and CEO of Banyan Tree Women's Collective. We are a 501c3 based out of the San Francisco Bay Peninsula. Once again, I'm sitting here in my office in Menlo Park. The Bay Area is under attack by the winds today and random rain, and it looks like a tornado went off outside. It's crazy. So I'm nice and cozy inside right now. So what is Banyan? Banyan is a group of women that got together, and, basically I had an idea. I was fed up with not having access, with people not having access to different wellness choices. It's a struggle to be able to find what works for you on your individual health journey. I've had that struggle. Most people that come to these classes have had that struggle. You go to your doctor and you're told to stress less, you're told to eat better, you're told to sleep more, you're told all these things, and you don't really have the answers. So you go and try to seek information, and then everything costs so much. And so I said, why don't we do it where people can come and have class for free and see what works for them? And so we work with the branches of wellness, the ones that I feel are really important, which are your nutrition, your movement, your spirit work, self-identity, and cognitive support. And so I just want to say congratulations. You showed up today to learn something new, to have information. And what I want to ask from you is that you share that information, share it with coworkers, share it with family members, and help people continue to grow and find different ways that they can heal themselves. We'll have time for questions afterwards. And then we'll also discuss Patty's upcoming events. We got quite a few with her, and then I'll share some of the big ones that are coming up in the next month. Right now, I'd love for you all to welcome Patty. She is one of our go-tos. She is a wealth of knowledge. If you did not take the other classes before, they are recorded and they are on the YouTube page, Banyan Women YouTube, and you can take additional classes with Patty there. All right, there you are, Patty. Hello, hello.
Hi, thank you so much, Mel.
Yes,
All right, let me just get myself set up and welcome everybody. And thank you for those of you who decided to share your lovely face on video. It always helps me connect and relate to folks better. So I encourage you, please don't be shy to put your video on so we can really have a nice interactive course. Okay. All right, so can everybody see my screen okay? All right, and let me just also open up the chat here. Okay, so welcome to Detoxifying Herbs for Gut Health. This is a 4-part series on detoxifying herbs. This is part 3 of this 4-part series. I talked about the lungs as well as the kidneys, and then after this, we'll be diving into the skin. But for today, we are going to focus on the gut. It is a very important topic. I think probably many of, if not all of you at some point may have had an imbalance with your gut. So I'm going to share from a holistic health and beauty perspective how you can support your gut. All right. Okay, so we're going to go through introductions. I'm going to quickly introduce myself, do a quick review on detoxification. For those of you who attended my last 2 classes, this will be a review for you. And then for those who are new to detoxification, in terms of detoxifying naturally, this will, I think, help set the stage for what I'm about to share, specific for the gut. We're going to talk a little bit about the digestive system in terms of physiology, so you know how to best support it. And then we're going to dive right into herbal and lifestyle support. I'm going to share some additional offerings that I have coming up, and then we're going to wrap things up with a Q&A. All right, so hi everyone, my name is Patty Liu. I'm a certified clinical herbalist, holistic beauty coach, and skincare formulator based both in Oakland and Santa Cruz, California. And I love helping women amplify their natural beauty so they can not only look, but also feel their best. Here is a little bit of my journey to clinical herbalism. I have a very strong background in biomedical research and also worked at Kaiser in healthcare for a number of years before making the switch over to a 3-year training program in clinical herbalism. And you can learn more about me and my journey at my website at iampattyliu.com. I also created a holistic skincare business called Free Flow Botanicals, where I work with medicinal herbs and infuse them into skincare products that are plant-based and homegrown, natural, and combine those with a variety of gemstone beauty tools. So it's all around holistic skincare. If you want to learn more, you can check me out at freeflowbotanicals.com. All right, so let's jump into detoxification. So what is it? I'm going to go over these slides pretty quickly. This class will be recorded and put onto Banyan Tree's YouTube channel, so you can always rewatch bits and pieces if you need to. So I'm going to just breeze through these slides fairly quickly because this is for the most part a review. So detoxification is removing or mitigating the toxic effects of a substance, basically changing its property so that it can either become less toxic or can be eliminated from the body. And in a very general sense of the term, it's the act of bringing the body back into balance. So why do we need to detoxify? I think in our modern age, we are exposed to numerous toxic substances. I think the average woman is exposed to about 170 chemicals, if I read the latest research correctly, in our personal care products, right? So we are exposed to a lot of harmful chemicals on a daily basis, much more than our ancestors were. And over time, we get exposed to these toxic substances, which can build up in tissues throughout our body. You know, the fatty tissues like our breasts and our brain, and also overwhelm our liver, which you will learn is the most important organ for detoxification. So once our liver gets overloaded, things start to happen, right? We may not feel as energized as we once were. We may experience a lot of imbalances. Is in the form of physical, emotional, and cognitive behavioral. Here are some of the common signs of toxic buildup. Give me a yes in the chat box if any of these apply to you or have applied to you. I can definitely relate to a lot of this. This is definitely not a complete list, but just some of the things that came up in my research and that apply to me personally. Okay, so I see one person put a yes, so everyone's good then. No one need, okay, wonderful. More folks. Yes, this is very relatable, right? I think even in terms of fatigue or headaches, trouble digesting foods, etc. So we're going to come back to this slide. When you take the time to detoxify correctly, and by correctly, that's a caveat meaning that detoxification from a natural and holistic perspective is very personal. It's different for everybody because we have different genetics, we have different lifestyle habits, we have different diets. So when you do detoxification correctly for your needs, you allow your body to heal naturally, you strengthen your immunity, you help your body absorb nutrients better. And this is one of the major roles of our gut that we'll be diving into today. You will also experience better mood and energy levels. You will see an improvement in the quality of your hair, skin, and nails. And mostly you will see an improvement in your overall health and well-being. So how do we begin? As a holistic health practitioner, as a clinical herbalist, I target the mind, body, and the spirit because these are all interconnected. They're all very closely integrated. We cleanse and then we focus on rebalancing. And we start by supporting our major organs of detoxification. So what are those? I have a list here. We covered the lungs and the kidneys in a previous series of classes, and those are on the Banyan Women's YouTube channel that you can check out. And then today we are going to focus on primarily the liver. The liver and the colon are both part of the digestive system, but today we're going to really focus on the liver. There's a lot to cover because the liver is, as I mentioned, the most essential organ for detoxification. And then coming up in a future class, I'm going to focus on the skin. So today, liver and partly colon. So let's talk about digestive/gut health. And these are often used interchangeably. Your digestive system is often referred to as your gut. So you will hear me refer to these interchangeably. So your digestive system, there's a lot on this slide, and it basically lists all the organs and parts of your digestive system. You don't need to read through all of this. I'm not going to take the time to cover everything, but the main takeaway is I want you to think about your digestive system as a giant tube. It's about 30 feet long, and it curves and it twists, and it starts from the opening where your mouth is, and it ends at your anus where you defecate. So this giant tube, or I should say long tube that spans about 30 feet, is called your GI tract or your gut. And it is a group of organs that includes the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the gallbladder, the small intestine, the colon, and the rectum. And so when you think of a long tube, right, you might think of like a pipe. So I often think of plumbing, right? So it's you're putting in things, you're putting things into the pipe, and the pipe is releasing something. So unlike the pipe underneath your sink in your bathroom or your kitchen, for example, that keeps things from escaping, so preventing water leaks or preventing rust from getting inside, the tube of your digestive system allows for nutrients to be absorbed into the blood. So it's like a permeable wall. So there's constant crosstalk, there's constant communication between the wall of your GI tract and your surroundings, so your blood, your other cells, etc. So it is said that oftentimes digestion begins in the mouth, but actually digestion, new research has shown that digestion begins with your eyes or your hands, right? As soon as you touch food or see food, you have hunger hormones that get released. And these hunger hormones can often be regulated by your circadian rhythm, which is why, from a holistic health perspective, it's really important to regulate your eating and meal times. So I'm going to save some time for Q&A at the end, but if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat box. Mel and I will be monitoring it. All right. And just wanted to share a couple more things around the gut or our digestive system, is that its primary role is to absorb nutrients from the food we eat, right? So its primary role is to process nutrients and also absorb nutrients. So there's that saying, you know, you're what you eat. But from my perspective, you're not what you eat. You are what you digest. You are the nutrients that your body assimilates. Because I work with clients who eat super healthy, but they're not able to digest all the nutrients of the healthiest foods. So in a sense, they're not eating very healthy, right? Because their body is not able to process those nutrients. Oftentimes, they're in a very constant state of fight or flight. So the food just passes through them. So it's really important to nourish your gut with things other than nutritious foods. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so a little bit about disorders of the gut. They can be both acute, which is more so episodic, or chronic in nature. Common gut health disorders include leaky gut. This is when food that gets digested leaks out or escapes into the bloodstream, or toxic substances leak, right? Because of damage to the gut lining. We talked about that pipe. There's like holes or damage to the wall, and food or particles or foreign substances leak out into the bloodstream. Irritable bowel disease or irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux. These are all common gut health imbalances. And some of the symptoms include headaches, abdominal pain, bloating, gas, all of these, right? So including skin disorders. So I truly believe that the gut is the underlying cause of most, if not all, disease, because we need nutrients to survive, and what we put in our body and how those nutrients and foods get absorbed and processed can have a very big impact on all other systems of our body. Okay, so why do we get leaky gut? There are a variety of reasons. I'm just going to go over it very briefly. This is Sadbadnu. I hope I said your name correctly. Apologies if I didn't. So she asked, or he asked, why do we get leaky gut? It's through strong use of medications or foods that can damage the gut lining. So the gut is not able to keep foreign particles out of the bloodstream, right? So usually the gut lining is formed by these tight junctions, and in leaky gut, these junctions are loose. So they let things that are not supposed to get into the bloodstream pass through. So they're leaky, right? Hence the term leaky gut. Okay, so what are some of the major causes of gut health disorders? And this will speak to your question about leaky gut as well. So a diet rich in processed foods, refined carbohydrates, nutrient poor foods, lack of fiber, and also food intolerances, right? So this is all very personal, but generally speaking, we want to eat as close to what Mother Nature provided us as possible. Another major cause is lack of exercise and sedentary lifestyle. And you might be wondering, well, what does exercise have to do with the health of my gut? Well, it has everything to do with it, because exercise will help to boost blood flow and circulation. And one of the hallmarks of a healthy digestive system is proper blood flow, right? You're moving things along, right? You're not letting things get stuck. So exercise can really help that, not to mention boost mood. Chronic stress, right? There's evidence to show that chronic stress can impact how our digestion occurs. It can impact the health of our gut lining. There's just so much evidence on the effect of chronic stress. Being in a constant state of fight or flight or a sympathetic state can wreak havoc on our gut. And then not only what we eat, but I mentioned I work with clients who eat super healthy, right? You look at their list of what they're eating, and it's just really healthy foods, but they have gut issues because we find out later that they're eating in a rush. They're not chewing their food properly. When you're not chewing your food properly, or you're inhaling your food, you're not making it easy for your digestive system to work. You're putting it into overdrive. Poor eating habits could also mean that you're eating really close to bedtime. So my general advice is to stop eating at least 2 to 3 hours before you sleep, because you need to give your organs a rest, specifically your liver, so that it can do its job properly. And we're going to dive into all the things that your liver does for you. Okay, so your liver is the most essential organ for detoxification. We're going to talk about why. This is a very large, meaty organ. It's about the size of a football that sits right underneath your rib cage on the right side of your abdomen. So because this is what I like to consider a very hands-on class, take a moment and just give your liver some love. Just take your hand and put it underneath your rib cage and give your liver some love, because your liver performs over 500 metabolic processes for you. So give your liver some love. It's about 1.4 kilograms, and it does so much, and we're going to learn exactly what it does for us. All right, so here are just some essential liver functions. And you can see here, it controls a lot of processes, it makes things, and it also stores things. So I've sort of summed this up into 3 main categories. I want you to think of your liver as a manufacturer. So what does it manufacture or make? It makes vitamins, right? It makes cholesterol. It makes hormones. It makes glutathione, which is a very important protein or peptide that our body needs for detoxification. And we're going to explore that further. Your liver makes blood proteins like albumin and ferritin, which regulates blood volume and also helps with the storage of iron. Your liver, very importantly, makes bile, which is a liquid that helps to break down fats and emulsify them so they can be properly digested. And also, bile helps to neutralize stomach acid. So your liver makes a ton of important things for your body to use and for you to live, essentially. The second major category for your liver is that it is the ultimate processor. So when I say processor, it helps to convert things from one form to the other. So what does it do? Your liver can work to convert your thyroid hormone from its inactive form to its active form. Your liver secretes a very important growth factor called insulin growth-like factor 1. Your liver helps to process nutrients like carbs, fats, and proteins. And it also helps to regulate the function of various hormones, including your sex and thyroid hormones. And then just as importantly, I want you to think of your liver as a storage facility. So your liver stores extra nutrients. For example, if you eat a large meal and you have excess sugar or carbs from your meal, your liver will store that in the form of glycogen, right? So it's a form of energy storage. It also stores different vitamins like A, D, E, and K, which are fat soluble. So these three main categories, I want you to remember as the key functions of your liver. But as this diagram shows, your liver controls about 500 metabolic processes. So you really want to be kind to your liver. Okay, so how your liver functions is that it receives blood from two channels. One is your hepatic artery, which comes from your heart, as you can see on the bottom of my slide below, and that delivers oxygen to your liver. So your liver cells require fresh oxygen to perform its jobs, right? So that is coming from the hepatic artery. And then your liver is also receiving nutrient-rich blood from your small intestine through the HPV or hepatic portal vein. And what is this hepatic portal vein bringing? Excuse me, it is bringing nutrients, but it's also bringing toxic substances. If we ingest pesticides, if we take medication, it's bringing in heavy metals that we may be exposed to. So what the blood that is coming from the hepatic portal vein or HPV is bringing isn't always good. So it is the liver's job at this point to detoxify, to help our body get rid of the bad stuff, right? While it helps us process the good stuff or the nutrients. So I'm gonna dive into liver detoxification pathways. If you have any questions so far, feel free to put that in the chat box. All right. Okay. So this is a bit dense. I originally found a diagram that I was just going to plop on here, but then I decided to simplify it for this audience just to really make it as clear as possible. So I created my own diagram and I'm going to walk you through it. So as I mentioned, when the small intestine, which gets, all the food that we eat and gets all the nutrients and all the waste and the toxic substances and the medications, etc., it shuttles it through the liver to detoxify. And the liver will actually filter this blood, right, from the large and the small intestine and produce bile, which helps to break down fats, and it also helps to promote the process of elimination through our colon. So before the bile is excreted from the liver, the toxic substances that we get exposed to have to be processed in a certain way so that it can be excreted appropriately. So this is the pathway in which that happens. So you have your toxicant, which is in a fat soluble state. And your liver basically converts it into an intermediary metabolite, which becomes less fat soluble, because fat soluble toxicants, a lot of pesticides that we get, will end up sitting in our fat tissues like the brain and the breast, which over time can develop into disorders, right? Cancer, like breast cancer, neurological disease. So what the liver is doing, it's converting the properties of these fat soluble toxicants into water soluble material, so that can be excreted. So it can be excreted as a waste product through either the bile/stool that the colon helps to eliminate, through our urine, which the kidneys do a fabulous job of helping to excrete, and via sweat, which our skin plays a role in. So how does it do that? It does this in 2 phases, and we're going to call this phase 1 detoxification, where through a series of enzyme reactions, the liver will remove and adjust the structure, the cellular structure of these toxic substances, and turn them into these intermediary metabolites. And then phase 2 of liver detoxification is the addition of certain chemical groups, right? So that with the addition of these chemical groups, the liver now converts the fat soluble toxicants to water soluble waste products. It's a really beautiful system, and we have to really honor our liver for doing this, because it is such an intelligent system of detoxification. So why does this matter? Why am I sharing this with you, right? If we can rely on our liver to do this, well, our liver needs our help. And it is through the foods that we choose to eat that the liver gets certain nutrients that are crucial for its detoxification process. And so in the example of phase 1 detoxification, the liver needs key nutrients like B vitamins, vitamin C, folic acid, glutathione, antioxidants, including flavonoids, and also phospholipids like vitamin E. So majority of these are absorbed and processed by the liver through the foods that we choose to eat, which is why it's so important to eat highly nutritious foods. And then similarly to phase 2 of detoxification, the liver needs similar but also different key nutrients. It needs specific amino acids, it needs B vitamins, glutathione. These are key nutrients. I haven't included all of them to keep this simple and understandable. All right, let me make sure I covered everything I wanted to cover. And then one thing I will add for those of you who are really interested in this pathway, I definitely am. I think it's fascinating. So in phase 1, there is a specific set of enzymes that you may or may not have heard of called the cytochrome P450 enzyme. So this class of enzyme is most abundant in the liver and are responsible for these enzymatic reactions that occur in phase 1. There are certain herbs, some of you may be familiar with St. John's wort, that actually are contraindicated with a lot of medication. So for those of you who happen to be on like warfarin or antidepressants, SSRIs, your doctor will likely have advised you not to take St. John's wort, because St. John's wort will actually interfere with the cytochrome P450 enzymes. So yes, Vivian, cytochrome P450. All right, so earlier you saw this diagram and I just changed the title, but everything else is still applicable. So common signs of a sluggish liver. right? So earlier it was common signs of toxic buildup, and now I simply switched it to common signs of a sluggish liver. So you really want to support your liver with key nutrients, the key nutrients that will help your liver perform its job of detoxifying properly and efficiently. So this is the good part. Make sure we're doing okay on time. So how do we support our liver holistically? Well, here are some of the favorite foods of the liver, right? So here is just a small subset of foods that your liver will appreciate. And I've listed the food on the left and the action on the right. So these specifically will help either phase 1 or phase 2 liver detoxification, right? We've got apples. Apples can help to bind and excrete heavy metals, especially the skin of the apple. So if you are apple lover, get organic apples with the skin on because they are high in pectin, and this will support phase 2 liver detoxification. Beets, carrots, red onions, root vegetables, right? They are very high in antioxidants, high in flavonoids, which will support phase. Bitter greens like arugula, kale, radicchio. They will help to stimulate the production of bile, right? Bile is what your liver produces and what your gallbladder will store. So you want to eat bitter greens to support the production of bile so that your liver can still function properly. Citrus fruits, rich in antioxidants, cruciferous vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli will support cytochrome P50, 450 activity in the liver. Eggs, brown rice, whole grains, again, different vitamins, B complex vitamins to support both phases of detoxification. And then garlic actually plays a really nice role in helping to bind and help to eliminate heavy metals. And my favorite way of eating garlic is raw. That may or may not sound appetizing to many of you, but there is actually a very tasty way to enjoy raw garlic, which is to pickle it. So you can get that nice savory umami flavor. I actually have a recipe on my website that you can check out for pickled garlic. Okay, so another thing I want to add, because we are talking about holistic support for your liver, there is a very strong link between your liver and your emotions. So what am I referring to? So in the practice of traditional Chinese medicine, this is a big part of my cultural heritage. Medical practitioners believe that emotions are closely connected to key organs and functions. So in the case of the liver, it is associated with the emotion of anger. And common symptoms that may either cause or point to a liver imbalance include anger, irritability, headaches, dizziness, menstrual pain, and redness, especially in the face. So if you tend to have a set of these symptoms and you're not sure what's causing it, you may want to look at your liver and whether or not you're experiencing an imbalance in your liver, and vice versa. If you are prone to these symptoms, you may want to see how that might be affecting your liver and your digestion, right? So it's all very interconnected. The link between the liver and the emotions, especially stress and anger and feelings of resentment. Okay, so this really speaks to the importance of taking holistic approaches to bringing the body back into balance. Did someone have a question? No? Okay.
I think somebody has their mute off. If you could please look and make sure that you're muted. Okay, I'm going to mute right here. There. Sorry, Patty.
All good. All right. So my question to you today, lovely students, is what steps can you take to support mind-body balance? Even if your liver is functioning super well, even if you are at optimal health, what steps can you take to make sure that your mind and your body are in balance, right? That your emotions are balanced, and that ultimately your organs stay in balance and your overall health and well-being maintain balance. Okay, so that's just some food for thought. All right, and my favorite part of the class, because I am a clinical herbalist, I love talking about herbs, but what I want to emphasize, and this is something I've spoken to before, is that when I think about herbal medicine, I don't think about going out and buying a bottle of ashwagandha or taking a bottle of turmeric and taking as much as I can, right? Because I hear that turmeric helps with inflammation or ashwagandha can help manage stress. I think of herbal medicine as an integral part of a holistic lifestyle, right? So speaking about, I love that Vivian's nodding, thank you. Herbalism is really part of a holistic lifestyle, right? That encompasses how you are cultivating healthy habits in your day-to-day, right? Are you making sure you are getting good sleep? What foods are you putting into your body, right? This is something that we covered a lot and talked about a lot of in this class. What are we putting in our body? Are we getting movement or exercise on a daily basis, right? Exercise is not a luxury. Sleep is not a luxury. These are necessities for us to live our best lives, right? And then how do we manage stress? And then I also like to think of herbalism as a form of creative expression. If you are a gardener, if you like to work with plants in terms of the arts, if you, like me, like to incorporate plants into skincare products or even herbal remedies, how can you tap into your own creative flow, your own creative juices to work more with plants and integrate that into your own life? Herbalism is also a very deep spiritual practice. At least it is for me. I didn't really connect with herbs until I actually developed a very deep relationship with herbs. One could say I actually started dating my herbs one at a time, getting to know each herb, getting to know ashwagandha and spending weeks or months with that single herb, learning and experiencing how my body reacted to those herbs and vice versa. Because if herbalism is of interest to you, which I hope it is, and that's probably why you're attending this class with me today, you will see that your body will be attracted to certain herbs more so than others. And for me, from the get-go, it was always herbs that help to manage my nervous system, because my nervous system, even as a very young child, I was constantly in a state of stress. So my body naturally gravitated towards nervous system support herbs, or what we call nervines. All right. And then last but not least, herbal medicine helps connect people, us, to our land, to our culture, and to our ancestry, right? So no matter who your ancestors are, they worked with their hands in the dirt, right? They probably grew and planted and worked with herbal medicine. So how can you tap into that energy, into your lineage, and unleash the power and magic of your ancestral healing practices? So I encourage you to look into your lineage. Okay. All right. So when I work with herbs, I look at what body systems they support, but I don't dive into the herb right away. As a clinical practitioner, as an herbalist, I look at herbal actions because I want to understand, to truly understand how herbs will behave in your body and how your body reacts to the herbs, and to know what your body needs. It's important to understand what action, what general action is that herb taking in your body. So we are going to start with bitters. So bitter, as its name implies, bitter herbs usually have a bitter taste, but physiologically speaking, bitter herbs will help to stimulate appetite. Bitter herbs will help to stimulate the release of gastric or digestive juices from the pancreas, from your liver, and also from your small intestine. Bitter herbs aid the detoxification processes in the liver by helping to increase the flow of bile. They also release secretion, help to release the secretion of pancreatic hormones that help to regulate blood sugar. So bitter herbs can actually help to promote the release of insulin. And also bitter herbs can help to repair the gut wall from damage, right? We talked about leaky gut. That's because your gut wall is damaged. So you can take bitter herbs. What goes really well with bitter herbs? Bitter herbs tend to be cooling in nature and drying, which can, but also might not be the best thing for your body, right? Because as a holistic practitioner, we always want to talk about keeping things in balance. So if you are experiencing sluggish digestion, you may not want to have just bitter herbs because that may be too cold for your body. So there's multiple levels that we need to think through when we take herbal remedies. So this brings me to the second important key action, which is carminatives. Carminatives are a class of herbs that tend to be rich in volatile oil. So I want you to think of your favorite Indian spices, fennel, cardamom, right? There are others that are escaping my mind, but the Indian spices, the fragrant herbs like lemon balm, also rosemary, these are rich in volatile oils and they help to aid in gastric emptying. They can also help to soothe discomfort in the gut lining. A very popular carminative is peppermint. So if you have an upset tummy, right, some people tend to turn towards peppermint. They also help to relieve gas from the GI tract. So they can help to relieve flatulence. And why I talk about carminatives is because carminatives, unlike bitters, not always, but tend to be warming in nature. So when I'm building a formula for a client, I usually like to include a carminative herb with a bitter herb to balance out the cold and the warming properties, right? Because too much cold is not a good thing and you want to keep that balanced. Cholagogue is also a very important class of herbs for supporting gut and liver health. And cholagogues help to stimulate the secretion of bile from the liver. And they also help to promote the flow of bile from the gallbladder, which stores the bile into the duodenum or part of the small intestine. And it's really helpful for digestion, especially digesting fats. So a very popular cholagogue herb is actually horseradish. And that's why if you go to a steakhouse, for those of you who are meat eaters, horseradish is often paired with steak, because that may or may not be a coincidence, but cholagogue will help to your stomach, your GI tract, to digest that heavy meat, that really heavy fatty meat. So similar to rose and rosemary, right? Rosemary was often paired in medieval times with heavy meats to help stimulate digestion. Rosemary is a wonderful carminative herb. And hepatic just means general support for the liver. And then last but not least, we've got laxatives, which primarily support the colon, and they are usually high in bulk fiber and help to relieve constipation. So one general piece of warning or note of caution is that laxatives tend to be habit forming. So here is a list of my favorite herbs by Herbal Actions, and I really wanted to take the time to break out what the herbal actions were, because now that you understand, you can then start to piece together what some of these herbs are and why they belong in different categories of actions. So I don't have enough time to go through everything, but what I want you to remember, what I want you to take away, and again, this is going to be available for replay on YouTube, is that the beautiful, most magical thing about herbs, at least for me, is that certain herbs span multiple categories. How wonderful is that? So when we've got burdock root, for example, burdock root is considered a bitter, it's considered a cholagogue, and a hepatic. So when you are taking herbs, I like to think but the challenging part is to simplify. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So today I'm not going to do a demo, but I want to introduce you to one of my favorite herbs. This is burdock root, which is also popular in Japanese cuisine. It's also known as gobu. It may be popular in Korean cuisine. I'm not sure, Vivian. Yes? Okay. And burdock root, as I mentioned, is a bitter, it's a hepatic, and it's also a cholagogue. And it also happens to be an excellent blood purifier. So folks with skin issues that need help with detoxification, it can help to cleanse the blood while supporting the function of the liver. Burdock root actually supports your colon as well because it's loaded with a prebiotic fiber called inulin. So it supports healthy transit times. It helps to support healthy bowel movements because it's packed with inulin. And when you eat it raw, that can actually cause bloating, gas, or upset stomach. So you want to make sure you cook your burdock root. And I'm going to just paste a link to my recipe here if you want to grab that in the chat box. So what I like to do is prepare burdock root by pickling it. And if you look at the screen, I have a giant jar of pickled burdock root. And the formula or the recipe that I have is really straightforward. You take fresh burdock root. Oops, I am doing too many things at once here. You take fresh burdock root and you combine it in a mixture of raw apple cider vinegar and tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce, or soy sauce to taste. You put that in a glass jar with either a plastic lid, or if you're using a metal lid, put a piece of wax paper between it so your apple cider vinegar does not corrode your lid. And you basically want to leave it here for about 4 weeks so that the acid from the vinegar will help to break down some of the cell wall of the burdock root so it doesn't give you that gas or that bloating. And you can simply, once you're done, you can eat it like a snack. Right? So I like to cut my burdock root up into little French fry shapes, and they're so delicious. They just give your mouth a nice little pucker, and you can just eat it like a snack. So I posted the recipe for pickled burdock root. It's a really wonderful springtime herbal remedy, actually great all year round, and it's super easy to make. You can scan the recipe here. You can pull the link from the chat box. All right, so I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. Really quickly, I've got a bunch of upcoming classes actually through the end of the year with Banyan. I'm so excited. Mel and I sat down for a few hours earlier this year to plan it all out. These are the next 3 classes I'm teaching. The last class of the series, Detoxifying Herbs for Glowing Skin. So if you found this class interesting, supporting the gut, this will come naturally, right? Because the gut also helps our skin glow, right? And vice versa. If we are not supporting our gut, we often experience skin issues. In June, I will be teaching summer holistic beauty practices. And then I'm very excited on July 16th, I will be teaching an in-person class in, I believe it's Menlo Park, Mel. It will be herbal first aid. So I will be teaching you how to make your own herbal first aid kit for when you're on the go, whether you're camping or just traveling, how to make herbal remedies that can support you and your family and loved ones. And then don't forget to please check out Banyan Tree's other amazing classes. Like Mel said, she founded this group to provide access to really great classes from nutrition to movement to wellness to communities all over the world. So please take advantage. Head to banyanwomen.org/events, or you can register on their homepage. So many great classes, including those taught by Mel. All right, and then this week, this Thursday, I am going to be continuing the path of detoxification and springtime rituals around holistic beauty through this free community offering that I will have Thursday, the 14th from 6 to 7 p.m. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. This will be an emphasis on how you can align to the energetics of spring, what it means for your health and well-being, diving into diet and lifestyle practices, and also sharing a little bit more about holistic skincare, including how you can use a massage technique to help alleviate symptoms of seasonal allergies, including sinus pressure and tension headaches. So you can scan the QR code here with your phone, or you can send me a direct message on Instagram at @PattyLu_, and I will send you the registration link. Okay, a few additional resources on my website as well. It will be sent out at the end of the class, so please check that out. So at the end of the class, you'll get an email with my contact information, and please explore the Banyan Tree Women's Collective YouTube channel. This class will be recorded and it will be posted on that channel, and you can also access a variety of other classes as well. Okay, so thank you so much for attending. I think I made it with a few minutes left. My Instagram, my website, and my email are all here. Please stay in touch. Feel free to reach out with any questions. And I will hand it over to Mel.
Patty, you actually have quite a few questions in the chat box. If you want to hurry up and hit those quickly.
Okay.
You can pull down your screen as well. That would be great.
Yes, yes. All right, I'm just trying to see what time the question started. Okay, I think I answered the leaky gut question. How heavy metals, including, so how heavy metals accumulate in the body? So heavy metals can accumulate in different tissues, right? So from the water we take in to environmental exposure, they can accumulate in different tissues of our body, including fat tissues. So we want to make sure that we are really supporting the liver. There's also cilantro and chlorella that are really helpful with detoxifying heavy metals. So hopefully that answers your question. Due to stress, incontinence, I have not properly slept and there is no cure. Sleep is important, but how to get proper sleep? That's a really great question. I will be teaching a class on herbs for sleep hygiene at the end of the year. So I believe that's in November. So I will be diving deep into this topic. I also have a very extensive blog post on my website talking specifically to sleep hygiene. Which herbs help the nervous system? Can you give me examples, please? That's a really broad question. I am not going to list out a bunch of herbs, but if you want to check out my website, Ruby, I have a lot of blog posts dealing with chronic stress, nervous system support. So please check out the blog post because I don't want to just spew out a whole bunch of herbs without giving you enough context. Can we get a copy of the PowerPoint? Unfortunately, I am not sharing the PowerPoint at this time, but you do have access to the recording. Okay. Thank you, Vivian. Burdock root is 45% inulin. Burdock root is 45% inulin. That's a lot of fiber. So if you are in need of prebiotic fiber, which your probiotic or your gut bacteria will love to munch on, right? They will munch on that, and they will release branch chain amino acids, which are really good for keeping your body in tip-top shape. You will want to increase your prebiotic fiber. If you consume most of these herbs through teas, sure, they can be. It depends. Teas are definitely very effective. Yes. Okay, is there a replay? Yes, there's a replay. Check the YouTube channel. And then how to register. I'm not sure which class you're referring to. If it's Banyan Tree, you can register through the website. And if it's my class, you can register by sending me a DM on Instagram, PattyLiu_. Will the herbal first aid class be viewed virtually? No, it will just be in person. Okay, I think I've covered everything. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Patty. Oh, I just wanted to keep this screen up. So BanyanTreeWomansCollective.org. This is the YouTube that I'm sharing with you right here. Go to videos, and there are tons of videos that you can choose from, as well as here is the kidney health replay, and then the other replay is in here somewhere. Herbs for chronic stress. And then Banyan page, you go to the front page, you can either go to events to see all the events. I really like the calendar view, and I just can flip through and click on what I want to sign up for. You have your thank you letter with the takeaways that's already in your email. I've seen in my email. If you are not receiving emails, I need for you to go back into your Eventbrite, and you're going to agree to promotional materials for Banyan. That's it. It's for Banyan. And that's how you get the thank yous. I love that you guys want replays and you have all these questions, and we're here for questions. You can pass you to Patty. All of her information is on the thank you email. As far as emailing me for links for certain classes, I do the very best I can, but we put on over 200 classes, and some days I can get multiple emails from people wanting different links to different YouTube videos. The best thing to do is to go to YouTube and subscribe and have fun. Scroll through, take some of the classes, lots of information on there. All right, so the next class will be coming up. Please make sure that you sign up. We have a lot of great things happening online and locally. If you are local, there are some really cool in-person classes coming down the pipeline. We can't release them quite yet, but by the end of the month, we will have them up, and spaces will be limited. We are doing another collaboration event with another organization on a farm again in East Palo Alto. So if you are in the Bay Area, this one's going to be really great, hands-on, making food, harvesting food, and we'll be creating planter boxes for low-income communities. So that will be on June 18th, a Saturday. Thank you so much for taking time to come out here, into your living room and signing up, and just to educate yourself. Please look out for your thank you email, and please sign up at classes. Remember, we are a nonprofit. We run by fundraising, by donations. So if you got anything, we'll take it. Every dollar matters, and it goes right back into programming so we can keep doing this. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you, Patty.
Bye, everyone.